up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Belle Collective. This is season 6, episode 8. Baby, it's the reunion. Let's go ahead and talk about it because, first of all, we only had 7 damn episodes, which is crazy. But on top of that, we only had a 1-part reunion. And honestly, everything was covered, so I can't even be mad because it wasn't that much to talk about. But let's go ahead and get right into it. First things first, Carlos, get that fucking Beijing up off of you. Baby, he was so filled in. That beard was completely filled in, black as tar. He had, like, the hairline. I'm so glad he went bald, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm so glad that he went bald. It's okay to let the gray show. I promise you. It is okay. On to the ladies' outfits. I feel like it was unbalanced. Why did we have 4 ladies wearing those royal blue dresses? And then you have, what's her name? Carrie wearing pink. Or should I say like a corally color. And then you have Latrice. She looking like a damn diamond. Because she's sparkling everywhere. I'm like, what was the memo? What was the theme? What's going on here? But, you know, everybody, they look nice in their own way. I think my favorite would probably have to be Carrie or Latrice, honestly. All right, so when it comes down to the ladies and what we talked about, first things first, we got Marie and Latrice talking about how they started off the season as friends. But honestly, I feel like there's no way y'all are going to go into the next season as friends because of the way Marie feels about Latrice. Okay? Because first she's saying, oh yeah, we had to let go of the past or whatever. But when we talk about the whole Letitia situation, we know that she feels like Latrice is a snake. So I don't think they're going to move forward. But whatever, child. We talk about the state of the collective. And we go ahead and talk to Letitia. And she's like, you know, this isn't a safe space for me. And I have to blame Latrice for that. And it's like, girl, what are you talking about? So Latrice, she's like, girl, go blame your husband, okay? I don't owe you anything. And honestly, she don't. And if we really want to be honest, her loyalty is not to Letitia. Her loyalty is to Mandy. Mandy is her real friend. Let's be honest. Letitia and Latrice, they barely got cool last season. And that's because they were going up against Aikisha together. Before that, those girls got into it all the time. It's just that their husbands got along. Like, let's be so for real about this situation. So Letitia says that she's not about to argue with Latrice. And Latrice says, yeah, you need to go ahead and go argue with your husband. I said, okay, Latrice. You know, she's still shaking and quaking in her voice. But that one still stands. Now, Carlos decides to slide on over to Tambra, right? And Tambra says that, listen, Letitia feels exactly how I felt a couple of years ago. No, you said that wrong, Tambra. You should have said, Letitia feels exactly how I felt when they tried to play in my face. Okay? That's what you should have said, because let's be honest, Tambra, you don't really see it for Letitia. You don't. Because the way she was like, yeah, I want no parts of that, that state situation, and baby, all those faces that Tambra was making, baby, she don't see it for that lady. She don't. Now, we have her trying to, you know, sugarcoat things, being like, you know, but when the collective comes together, they are so supportive. Girl, that's not what we're talking about right now. That is not what we are talking about. So then we have Letitia. She's like, yeah, but what about girl code? Girl, what girl code? You barely started liking Latrice. And also, like I said, her loyalty is to her best friend, not to you. Be so for real. So Letitia is like, yeah, because Latrice was over there rejoicing in my pain because her friend was talking about my weight and body shaming. I said, girl, that girl said, look at her and look at me. Baby, it could have been on face card alone. Okay? That could have been on face card alone. Now, did I like that comment that Mandy made when she said, look at her and look at me? Absolutely not. Because Letitia, you're not an ugly woman at all. But here's the thing. Latrice was there as well as Tambra. They both reacted. Whatever, girl. So, Latrice, she gonna say, she's such a great actress. Picture for a movie, Carlos. I said, what is going on, Latrice? You got some comebacks. Now, if you could just get that shake and quake out your voice, baby, you'll be something. You will be somebody to not play with, okay? Now we get to Carrie's little segment, and here's my thing. I'm over her being obsessed with dissing Jackson. She keeps saying that it's ratchet, it's this, that, and another. And baby, one thing Tamra gonna do, she's going to defend Jackson, because that's her city. Okay? She talks to the people on the radio. And my whole thing about Carrie is that, girl, the show is literally set in Jackson. You had to drive your ass up from the Gulf Coast to even get on the show. How is that going to help you with viewership, with people liking you, people from the city knowing who you are, if you keep dissing the people in Jackson? Like, girl, get a clue. Because let's be completely honest, we saw the people in Jackson, and we saw the people who showed up to Brick and Spoon at the brunch that Letitia and you threw. So, to me, them people looked about the same, baby. Them people looked about the same. Cut it out. Moving on from there, we talked to Tamra about her money situation with Damon. Damon still ain't let her in on nothing when it comes to his finances. And she don't think he broke, but she thinks that he has mismanaged money in the past, which further lets me know that man may be carrying a heavy debt. I don't know why, but he may have a heavy debt on him, right? Now, they talk about having this whole joint bank account because y'all remember she had that conversation with him and how she didn't trust him to have a joint bank account, right? So, Carlos is like, listen, it all sounds good, but really, women, y'all should not get joint bank accounts with your husbands because these men always hold the money over you. You know what I'm saying? Oh, baby, why he say that? Because here comes Letitia to tell her fucking story. Y'all. She literally says that she had an account with Glenn, right? Well, I guess now she has separate account with him, right? Now, she says that in season 1, when she left Glenn, he left her with less than $5. Girl, and you went back to him? Are you okay? She's like, he took me off my job. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had nothing. I had to call my cousin, and I only had $4.72 to my name. Girl, now you want to sit up here and tell us how now you make sure you have a cushion? A cushion? Girl, that is embarrassing. I would have never told that story. Because you mean to tell me that you went back to a man who left you with nothing while you had your child with you? Baby, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I'm not about to play this game with Letitia and Glenn, okay? I'm just not, okay? This is just ridiculous. So, by the end of that segment, Carlos ends up asking Tamra, will she marry Damon? Baby, they're not getting married. I think Tamra, she got what she wanted, truly, which was that baby. And I think she's good with that. I think she knows that Damon may be a good person. He may be a good man. His finances may not be right. But out of her pickings, he has been the best over the years. And I think even though Tamra has been like, oh, I want the wedding, I want the marriage, the baby, all the things. I think that Tamra is okay with where she is, honestly. But because, she's probably been brought up a certain way. Of course she wanted to have the marriage, the baby, the picket fence, the American dream. But I really think that Tamra is okay exactly where she at. Moving on, but I wish, honestly, before I move on, I wish that she would just stand in that. I wish that she would just be like, you know what? At one point, I did think that I wanted this, that, another. But I'm okay with just having my daughter. You know what I'm saying? But moving on. So, in the next segment, you have the husbands. They come out. And we got to talk about Marie and how she was juggling Cedric and Martin, right? Now, according to Marie, this was a God thing for them to get back together. I said, a God thing, Marie? No. That man played in your face, okay? He played you in the past, and he played you again because all because his brother died and y'all showed up at the funeral and you decided to support him, baby, that did not mean y'all needed to get back together. And once I heard Cedric open up his mouth on this damn reunion, I said, yeah, Marie, you can do better, baby. You really can. Because according to Cedric, the reason why they broke up has nothing to do with infidelity at all, y'all. Nothing to do with that. Because according to him, it's two sides of a goddamn pancake. He talking about he's the king and Marie needs to submit to him. Nigga, what? What are you talking about? How dare you say that she needs to submit to you when you were literally cheating on her? And Marie's like, I have no problem with, submitting. However, you had women coming up to me saying how, they're the wife. I wasn't the wife. They were the wife. I said, Marie, all of this rhetoric that he talking, baby, this should be the sign that y'all don't need to be together. I think Marie can do better. You are a successful woman. You're very smart. You don't need Cedric. You don't. Because when that man sat up there talking about how he got his own, I talking about, Marie, she's this, that, another, but, I got my own. And that little dilapidated house you got, and then you have another dilapidated house next door that you supposedly teach hair school in. Stop playing with me, Cedric. Stop playing with me. Because what you have it don't come near what Marie got. Please stop playing. And please get that dirty house cleaned. How about that? So, Carlos, he's like, does everyone want a submissive wife? Glenn is like, yes, of course you want Letitia to be submissive. We already know that. Cliff talking about he like a challenge, okay? Matt is the only one there with some goddamn sense because he's like, I don't even use the word submissive. Baby, when I tell you that man talked about how, basically they lean on each other. They help each other. Where he is weak, she is strong, and vice versa. Baby, it is very clear that they try their best to have a balanced relationship, which honestly, that is what people should want. You should want a balanced relationship, not somebody leading you to the dungeon of nowhere, okay? So, we noticed that Marie and Cedric, baby, they were in rings, right? However, they not getting remarried. I said, okay, cool. Don't get remarried to him, Marie. Do not. Because I don't trust Cedric, okay? Y'all can be in this committed relationship, but baby, y'all don't need to walk down the aisle and sign no papers, okay? Now, y'all, we get to Selena, her package, and according to her, they have a wedding date. However, it could change. I said, well, what the hell that's supposed to mean? She said that she doesn't like that Mike be staying out all night. He be coming in the house like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Nigga, you too old for this shit. Let's be completely honest. If Selena is 50, okay, and she look damn good, okay? If she is 50, Mike, you got to be up there too. What the fuck is you and your homeboys doing till 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning? You are too old for this shit. Take your ass home. Like, as much crap as we've talked about Cliff and them condos, at least we know that he's literally only at Taste. He go right upstairs to them condos, okay? Mike, we don't even know where you are. We don't know what corners you done hit before you done stopped at Selena house. That shit is crazy to me. Moving on from there, she does say that she does appreciate everybody who supported her, especially when it came to her event, as well as them supporting her when she had to go visit her son's house, right? So, moving on from there, we talked to Latrice a bit because, she talks about how, like, losing a sibling like that hurt her so much that is why she is fearful of having her own kids because she doesn't want to lose them. Now, Cedric, this is about the only moment you had that was good this whole season, and that was when you said some kind words to Latrice saying that she should step out on faith and not let that stop her from having children, okay? That's the only thing you had to say that I was like, okay, Cedric, fine. Moving on from there, y'all, we got to talk about Glendale and Mandy. At this point, where the fuck was Mandy? Bring Mandy out, because this is ridiculous. Carlos is like, Latrice, you suggested that Mandy be a Belle. And she's like, yes, I suggested her as well as 2 other people. And Letitia, oh, here we go. She's like, because me, Marie, and Latrice, we was on a 3-way call when the other Belles left. And everybody was on the same page. I said, okay, and where's this going? Because y'all, none of this shit connected, but we gonna continue. Because then she's like, Latrice, she didn't even think that y'all would choose Amanda. But when Amanda mentioned Letitia's name, that's what got her TV time. I said, girl, first of all, I really think that the reason why Mandy probably did not get chosen is because she's not a wife. And let's be honest, Belle Collective is heavily into or should I just say Carlos King shows, they really prefer for people to have a partner. You know what I'm saying? They prefer to you to have a consistent partner on the show. Mandy was single. Now, from what we gathered, she was single. Because when we first met her, she had that conversation with Latrice and Cliff. And it was like, oh, who are you interested in dating? However, by the time we got to the little party, she had a whole girlfriend. So I said, well, girl, you should have started with that. Because honestly, I would like to see a show where we actually incorporate other people besides these straight fucking relationships, because they're a shit show. But you know what? Let's expose everybody. Can we get some gay relationships? Can we get some lesbian relationships? Let's mix it up, okay? Let's mix it up. And I think if she would have probably led with that, maybe we would have been more interested. But we want to talk about the whole Glendale situation, right? Here comes Glendale. And no, hold on. And Letitia, for you to be like, yeah, because talking about me, that gives her TV time. I'm just like, oh, Letitia, you really think you running shit, don't you? I love to see it. Because I feel like the same way you on this high horse, baby, it's going to come crumbling down. Don't you worry. Probably at the hands of Glendale. Nonetheless, here comes Glendale going on about how they are trying to raise a black son in a 2-parent household, and he can see all this on social media. Well, nigga, you are the fucking common denominator here. You are the problem. I hate when people try to bring up the fact that they're raising a black son. What they got to do with all your wrongdoings? If you're raising a black son and you're trying to have this 2-parent household, how about you be committed to your wife? Don't be sliding into other women's DMs. And don't have your wife out here sharing a bed with your damn son because she's too busy crying over your ass. How about that? Oh my God, I cannot stand Glenn. Then my other issue is that he really acted like he did nothing at all. So Carlos asked if Glenn blames Cliff and Latrice for everything that happened. And he gonna say, to an extent. Baby, the way Latrice said, Glendale. I was cracking up because she's so sick of his shit. She's like, we don't have a reason to come for y'all. Here goes Letitia saying how Latrice, you tried to down me, but 4 weeks ago, the police came to Taste because Latrice and Cliff were fighting. Now, y'all, this is one story where I said, where was we going with this? Like, you was trying to drop T, but it didn't really land. Because she goes on to talk about how she got involved because she's a bail bondsman. All because they was fighting at Taste. Did anybody get arrested? And who the fuck called you so that you could be the bail bondsman? Because, baby, I would not trust Letitia on no paperwork. I've seen the way she throw brunches. No, thank you. So, Latrice, she looking at her like, okay, so you're trying to expose something that you know nothing about. And I feel like we just kind of left it there. Because Letitia, she then jumps back into the conversation and says that, they tried to expose and humiliate me. And she didn't deserve that from Latrice. Girl, no, you don't deserve that from your fucking husband, okay? So Latrice is like, don't try to blame me for what your husband did. Cliff is over there fixing his button, uninvolved with the whole conversation. It is very clear that Cliff has checked the fuck out, okay? And I really think that Cliff has completely checked out of a friendship with Glendale. So Letitia, she ends up catching herself. Y'all, did y'all hear her? Because when she's arguing with Letitia, she was like, because men gonna do. And then she stops herself and was like, I'm talking about you and me, Latrice. You knew that your ass was going to say, men gonna do what men do, which means that you're going to justify your nigga he is sliding into another woman's DMs because men gonna do what they do. That's the vibe that I got. Girl, what are you talking about? But now you want to flip it and make it about you and Latrice? Stop playing with us. So here goes Glenn like, oh, what did the DM say? What did the DM say? I didn't try to meet up with Amanda. And Latrice is like, well, guess what? You shouldn't be in nobody's DMs, period. You're a married man, which is very true. So Carlos is like, why are you in the DMs? And he's like, oh, I'm just replying. Now, according to Latrice, baby, there are some deleted DMs, okay? However, Letitia swears that she has the same ones that Mandy got, right? So we see them go through the DMs. However, I don't even give a damn about that. I'm more concerned about this conversation that Latrice and Tamara are talking about. Because, baby, according to them, Amanda and Glenn, they met up and they was in the car together. So clearly there's something that happened, and those DMs were definitely edited. So Carlos, he's like, oh, are these the same text messages that you saw, Latrice? And she says no. Baby Timber over there rolling her eyes because I think that she read some of those damn not tweets, I'm gonna say tweets. She read some of those DMs when they were in that salon, and that's definitely a different DM. Okay? So Latrice is like, go hold your husband accountable, okay? But Letitia is still going on about the relationship with Latrice. Girl, y'all weren't even tight like that in the first place, so I'm not even understanding why you just refuse to tell your husband about himself, okay? For some reason, Glenn is still standing on the fact that Cliff should have shut it down. Cliff is like, women is arguing. I'm not getting into that. Baby, what's funny to me is that, baby, women weren't even arguing. What's funny to me is that when that whole house thing happened, the women weren't even arguing, okay? It was Glendale and Javon that were arguing, okay? So then they asked, well, who wrote the questions? Latrice said several people wrote questions, and for me, it sounds like production. Because according to Carlos, Latrice wasn't even around when that question was added. AKA, production added that fucking question. Okay? Be so for real. So Marie, she still stands on the fact that Latrice ain't a good friend. It says that she would have handled it differently. Girl, we know. You would have went up to Glenn and been like, you know, I seen the DMs and all of this shit, but he was just gonna lie in your face too. The same way he be lying to Letitia. So what was gonna be the difference? So my whole thing is, you have the audacity to say that you don't want to take steps back with Latrice. However, y'all definitely just took some steps back because you just said the girl wasn't a good friend, okay? So according to Glenn, he has never been attracted to Amanda, but we have Letitia stepping in to say, because Amanda body shamed me. Girl, my whole thing is, you have so much stuff to say about Amanda, but I'm pretty sure you blocked her from coming on this reunion. It sounds like there needs to be a conversation between Amanda and Letitia. Not Latrice and Letitia, okay? And you keep talking about how Latrice got up and danced and all of this stuff, and it humiliated you. Letitia, girl, bye. Because then she was feeling herself, y'all, because she's like, you know, I've been carrying people and the collective on my back. But you know what? All's fair in Belle Collective. Girl, what? When was Letitia carrying anything besides them dirty ass plates on her back? What is she talking about? Because let's be completely honest. I think that almost every Belle has brought something to the show. Don't make it seem like you are the only one who is really carrying a story. Okay? It's not their fault that your husband keep doing shit that keep embarrassing you. And also, when you say all's fair in Belle Collective, I said, okay, Latrice, get ready because she about to come for you, girl. She is definitely about to come for you. Now, Carrie, she's like, you know, I just feel like both of them are hurt. I don't think both of them are hurt. I think Latrice is just over them blaming her for everything. Because we've seen that every reunion. Latrice gets blamed for shit. So they end up going around the room, right? To say what everybody got going on. Selena has a vintage earring line going on. Tambra, she has created a product to prevent stretch marks on black women. Carrie got brick and spoon. Of course, Marie got her Hamilton Davis. And she's hoping that Essie will let her retire. Y'all, I kind of wish that Essie could have been on the show. I like her personality, but I think since she's like moved to a different place, maybe not. But I'm like, damn, Essie probably would have been good on the show. Plus, and she got a husband. But, you know, whatever. Latrice, she's planning on building more condos. I think she said like 30 more condos. And Letitia is working on herself. So, that's the end of the damn show, right? However, we do see Latrice having a conversation with Tambra after they stop filming, and she's so over Letitia because she's like, you know, they're trying to make it seem like I'm always coming for her, and that's not even the case when the constant issue is your husband. And baby, it is her husband, even though, you know, according to Letitia and Glenn, Latrice is the one who brought around Antoinette, and she also brought up the baby thing. Baby, your husband keeps putting you in these fucking situations. He tried to talk to Antoinette on the low. Hell, he tried to talk to Mandy on the low. And he also probably cheated on you, remember? Remember that? He cheated on you and almost had an outside baby. So, yeah, Latrice may be bringing it up, but it starts at home with your husband. Y'all, that was Belle Collective. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode, what y'all thought about the reunion. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all about next review. Bye, guys.